Hey Dice Gang, here is more history/D&D content. We're going to reimagine D&D's Korea, Koryo. After doing the D&D version of China and Japan, you can just feel that the writers of the Kara-Tur setting had pretty much stopped caring. It feels like they knew that they've already got a product they can sell with those two cultures, so their Korea is just some padding to make it look like a bigger product. Why do I know this? Because if you read the description of D&D's Koryo, it is almost a one-to-one description of the historical kingdom of Koryo. The difference is that instead of a unified nation, the three Korean kingdoms still exist within Koryo and it's just part of the empire. It's like they've just stopped trying to come up with something new and just copied their homework and just changed a few things. Well, back then, the HALLYU or the Korean entertainment wave had not even began yet, so I can see why they don't treat it with priority. But before I do my reimagination, let's review the basics of Korean history, because many people don't seem to know anything about it. There are three main periods of Korean history before their modern history. There is ancient Korea. This is the time of Gojoseon, the kingdom that most of the later Korean kingdoms draw their connection from. Then there is the Three Kingdoms period, where we have Goguryeo, Shilla, and Baekje duking it out, and for some reason, the Gaya Confederacy didn't count. Shilla nominally unified the three kingdoms in the 7th century, but true unification was only achieved in the 9th century. By Koryo, the Three Kingdoms period was actually a pretty interesting time, but it was less well known in the West. Despite the name, there were actually more than three kingdoms at the time, but the big players were Goguryeo, Shilla, and Baekje. Meanwhile, everyone just ignores the tiny little Gaya Confederacy. Then again, Shilla and Baekje themselves were pretty small when compared to Goguryeo. But they can still provide enough challenge against Goguryeo due to their diplomatic maneuverings and the alliance they make with external powers. Baekje were very close with Japan and had lots of cultural exchanges with them. The seven-pronged sword that you often see in Japanese media was actually a gift from Baekje. Shilla, on the other hand, was friendly with China, and ultimately they were the ones who defeated the others by coordinating their attacks with their Chinese allies. But of course, Korea's history is a lot more complicated than that. I can't possibly discuss everything here, so if you're interested in history from Asia and other parts of the world, visit my other channel and subscribe. I will eventually get around to Korean history. Now back to the topic. I think this ally gathering concept can be a pretty interesting idea to play with, so let's use it for the setting. The next historical concept I will add to the reimagining is archery. Many people may not know this, but archery is deeply ingrained into Korean culture, all the way up to today. They are like the elves of East Asia. China and Japan may have their own archery tradition, but it is nothing like how important it is to the Koreans. Many of their legendary kings were great archers, and it was even part of the imperial examinations in ancient times. And today, they dominate the archery events in the Olympics. Out of this, we can get a few new toys to play with. The traditional bow used by the Koreans are the composite bows, a bit similar to the Mongol bows. Despite their smaller size, they can launch arrows further and at a higher velocity than longbows. But the problem is that they are a lot harder to make and prone to issues in humid and wet conditions. There is also a device called TONG-AH. It's a bamboo arrow guide that lets the archer shoot smaller arrows at higher velocity. It is a pretty useful tool, but it exists in other cultures as well. So I guess we can put all the archery related devices into this setting while at it. One more historical thing I want to add is the Hwarangs. Hwarangs were virtually the ancient K-pop warriors of the kingdom of Shilla. Okay, I know that some of you may be immediately repulsed by the idea of role-playing boy band girly men. I used to hate boy bands too, but after a while, I realized that they're actually running a pretty good hustle. If you can make girls go cuckoo crazy over you and make them pay you money, wouldn't you do it too? I still don't enjoy boy bands, but hot damn, I wouldn't mind being treated like one of them. I respect the hustle. Besides, a party full of valor bards can be pretty epic. Sadly, we don't have all the information on Hwarangs, but what we do know is that they were the elite warriors who wore makeup and glammed up with accessories. They were good-looking boys with good morals, selected from good families to be educated in the arts and culture, martial arts, and Buddhist morals. Yeah, Sheila was really into Buddhism. Many of the Hwarangs would end up becoming ministers and generals, so they weren't just for show. They and their Buddhist masters would also go on journeys to seek encounters with supernatural beings and ask for their blessing and protection over the kingdom. And with these historical inspirations, I think we got the ingredients for a really good setting. Imagine this. One day, a mysterious, viscous mist appeared from the northern mountains. As it slowly rolled down, it turned whatever creature caught in it into warlike hive-minded drones. Their directive were to set up their own nation and multiply their numbers by infecting other living beings. And because those infected were your own country folks, the Empress is hesitant to launch a full-scale attack. But somehow, you discovered that certain type of music and performance can dispel the effects of the mist. But if you don't destroy the mist reservoir that's collected in certain locales, such as old wells, mines, and dungeons, then the local population would be reinfected. So what do? Concert tour! Not everyone has to be a performer. You can relegate the task to the NPCs, and you can be the bodyguard if you prefer to fight, or religious mentor if you're a cleric or a monk. Obviously, it's easier to perform on someone you have knocked out, so that is your excuse to be violent. To make your quest easier, you can climb up the local mountains and seek assistance from the Sunshines, who are in charge of the area. Sunshines are the mountain gods that are part of the Korean shamanistic belief. They usually serve as guardian deities of villages, and for some reason, they channel the Joe Exotic vibe. They just love their tigers. But in this setting, some of them have also been corrupted by the mist, so you may have to cleanse them too. And once you have done that, you can learn the local folk songs and gain their assistance while you are within the area they are in charge of. As you progress through the campaign, you will uncover more and more secrets about the true origin of the mist. Is there something the Sunshines are not telling you? Anyway, what do you think of this setting? Comment below. Also, remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. CJ over and out.